Okay, class of 2026, are y'all ready for the award ceremony? Hi, I think my voice got better. I had some tea. Damn, last time I seen everybody literally here was the first day. First of all, I wanna say, give a big round of applause to yourselves. The 5 days went by so fast, like literally so fast. So I'm just proud that everybody's here. I'm happy from selecting y'all, everybody's here. And we about to get into, these are where's the,
Wait, sure you only a week? Yeah. Last time it was only a weekend. Okay. This time it was 5 days. Next time it's probably gonna be 7 days, and the time after that's probably gonna be 2 weeks.
Okay.
Or the next time could be 2 weeks if they're trying to
please.
Scale things up even faster. That's a lot more money out of Kai's pocket. Jumped to two weeks that fast.
Okay, I want to remind you guys, okay? There is a $50,000 brand deal from Milk, okay? They're dropping a YouTube series this fall where creators and real teachers team up to turn classroom lessons into entertaining hands-on challenges, all right? One StreamingU student or staff member will get the chance to win a $50,000 brand deal. So make sure you guys are on it. Post an audition video on TikTok or YouTube using hashtag #MilkXStreamingU and tagging Gonna Need Milk to answer. If you were a substitute teacher for a day, how would you make class entertaining and relevant with Milk fueling the lesson? Let's keep going. Okay. The Milk Award goes to Fine Jeremiah. So you did it, and you won. All right. Congratulations to Jeremiah.
I'm the winner.
Let's go to the next one. The Fortnite, okay? For Fortnite, in honor of everybody's new best mates, Fortnite sprites, we've hidden 31 sprite figures across campus. And it was your mission to find them, trade them, steal them, or hold on to them, just like in-game, okay? Let's go to the next slide. If you have a gold and a non-gold sprite, raise your hand. Okay, if you have a gold and both a non-gold sprite, I see Reem. Okay, look, line up right here if you have. Line up right here if you have it.
Who's saying it's some bull?
Two, both of them.
Capitalism.
Line up right there.
Holy.
Raphael.
Holy.
Reem. Who else? And Lacey, you have two? Okay. Production, make sure we do camera and picture on me. Okay, come up here, one by one. Raphael, prove that you have it. Oh, damn. Gold and a non-gold one, okay. Reem, prove that you have it. Talk about, y'all niggas can't fuck with me, nigga. Yo, Yusuf, I know you Jude as fuck. Fuck your kid, man, too. Okay. Do you have a gold one? Is it in your door for real? Okay, somebody needs a production, somebody needs me. All right, go to the next slide real quick. Okay, hold on. You guys have won.
I have not seen that.
The 7,500 brand deal, and you guys get to customize and put an item into Fortnite. Clap it up for that.
I've not seen that, man, but he definitely didn't get replaced.
All right.
But he's probably a new person in comparison to who he was before, if that's what we're saying.
State Farm, top 10 good neighbors, okay? We probably selected some good neighbors to put out there for this closing ceremony. Go ahead and go to the next one. Davion TV. All right, that's a 100 gifted to you. Next.
No way.
Madai, Bashia, 100 gifted to you. Next.
Tatum, holy.
100 gifted to you. Next. Pudgy. 100 gifted to you. Next. Easy.
Easy. That's a good
Hard to give it to
username.
you. Next.
That's a great username.
Benji.
Benji Chavez.
Hard to give it to you. Next. Markel.
W. Markel.
Hard to give it to you. Next. Alyssa.
Melissa.
Hard to give it to you.
You never
Next.
know, but he's definitely out there. He did just
Jada.
for a while, you know. It was very impressive, bro.
Hard to give it to you. Next. Andre. Hard to give it to you. Next. Now. Now we are getting to the awards.
No,
Okay.
he's on the bottom. Hold on, let me
Can we please see what the first category is? Oh, are y'all doing it like that? Production, okay. Production, can I please get a thing, please? All right. Well, look, come on, McQueen.
Be it know that.
Most
Be it known
improved
that. Okay.
one, okay?
Nice, McQueen.
All right. So look,
What the heck?
McQueen.
Markel.
Okay, this award has been recognized by the faculty and community of Streaming University for outstanding achievement in delivering top-tier knowledge, patience, and leadership while making every stream feel like a masterclass. The most improved award goes to McQueen.
W. Sources say Kai did not buy mail as the
I just want to
first
say
lane while
thank you to
playing
Kai for creating such an amazing
Probably.
place like Streamer U and giving someone like me a chance to showcase my talent on the biggest screen. I'm super grateful for everyone I met here, and I can't wait to see what we do all together and collaborate and create more amazing content even after all this. And I'm just very grateful for this experience. I appreciate you guys so much and appreciate everybody here, man.
Clap it up for McQueen.
Good job, McQueen.
Okay. This next award, yeah. Let me describe it first. Okay, yeah, okay. This next award is the Master of Mentorship. Has been recognized by the
Watch it not
faculty
be this one
and
next.
community of Streaming University for outstanding achievement in delivering top-tier knowledge, patience, and leadership while making every stream feel like a masterclass.
Masterclass?
The Master of Mentorship Award goes
Professor
to
L.
Agent Zero.
Really? Okay, maybe he's gonna get the Best Teacher Award. Master of Mentorship. Yo, Agent needs to update his profile pic. You don't look like that anymore. His dreads are way longer. Needs an updated version.
Appreciate it, man. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling today? Yeah, I'm really proud of you guys, man. I know when I came on here at the beginning, I was super nervous on how it was gonna go. I had the luxury of being a professor in the last one as well, and I'm really happy. I feel like everyone took the job so serious. Everyone had fun, everyone learned a bunch, and you guys made my life as a professor very, very easy. To everyone that came up for me with real questions after classes, asking for advice, learning from others, congratulations. You got exactly what you wanted out of the experience. So, I know everybody's really tired because we've been beating our ass trying to stream as much as possible. Kai, thank you for putting together such a marvelous event, and thank you for the honor of this award.
W.
Okay. This award is for the biggest flirt. Has been
Tatum.
recognized by the faculty and community of Streaming
Or
University
Marty.
for outstanding achievement in delivering top-tier. Oh, this all said the same thing? Okay, my bad. Okay. The biggest flirt award goes to Suki Mello.
Oh, really?
Where's she at?
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Bring your ass up here.
Biggest flirt?
Clap it up for her.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. My goal is always to make everyone feel loved.
Well, if it was chat voted, I
as
think the
we
chat would have
all
voted for
like to
Tatum.
feel appreciated and loved. So thank you so much for Kaisenat. I love you, Kaisenat. I love everybody here, and thank you for this reward.
This is really long hair. She's so cringe. Hey, a lot of streamers are cringe, bro. I'm cringe.
Okay.
We all cringe. Kai's cringe.
Hold on.
But I think chat would have voted on Tatum because every time Rakai was on the stream with her, they were all like, oh, she's talking to everybody. Even though she wasn't.
All right.
It's actually kind of crazy.
This award is Engagement Gurus, okay? Who's outside, you know, engaging with a lot of people, doing a lot of things.
Suburb?
This next award is awarded to the Streamer University Police Department.
Oh, really?
SUPD.
Okay, that
Come on
makes
stage.
sense, the whole thing. That's pretty cool.
They lost their job yesterday, but come on. Phantom Walton, come on.
Yo, as you can see, we got fucking fired. That's Bonnie, our first female. Make some noise for Bonnie, man, the first female SUPD officer.
Who that?
Yo, we had fun being SUPD. I definitely caught more than half the class of 2026 for sure. Facts. And it was dope, you know what I mean? So,
For
yeah,
sure.
it worked well.
Facts. That might become a meme, no cap.
Yo, hire me next year, bro, please. You kidnapped me last night. Clap it up for the SUPD. We'll talk about it tonight. Safety.
You know who really cringe? Oh, people who buy refresh on Yamato. That's kind of a bad purchase, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay,
Because it refreshes if you get a kill. Or extend.
this next award is the most honorable award. This next award is to
J-Shock?
Isabella Grace.
I don't know. I was mainly watching Black Boy Max and Jason
Isabella Grace,
Derulo
come to the
win.
front. Come to the front.
My bad, bro. My bad.
Lower breath, lower breath, lower.
Wow, sorry, I lost my voice. I can't lie. When I came to Streamer University, I was intimidated because I'm the only UK streamer. And can I just say as well, I was getting mad backlash back home. They were telling me I didn't deserve it. They said, why me? And they said, oh, because she's already collabed with Kai, that's why she got chosen. But I think for me, this opportunity has really stretched me, not just as a streamer, but as a person. I think I came here,
I don't know if I
you know,
like that
wanting to
wording.
connect with as many people as I can, making W clips, but also taking hold of every single advice that any seasoned streamer can give me, whether that's bigger
I've been doing
creators
the
or
same
even
thing.
my own professors.
I've been doing the same thing.
And that's why for every lesson, you would just see me really focused, doing my homework, taking it all in, because I think for me, we can always pump out content, but you always have to feed your mind. Don't forget about intelligence, because when we're consuming so much brain rot, it's easy to become dumb. But I just want to encourage you guys and,
Your lip just
you know, all
quivered?
the future students who are coming to Streamer
She does
University.
not seem nervous, but she's like
Be
quivering, I
uncomfortable.
think.
Know your boundaries. Earn respect. Make sure you treat every single creator with respect and not
Facts.
just a clip or a view, you know. And when you go to your lessons, please, please take it seriously. I'd say lessons is where I draw the line for content. You know, genuinely, I came here to learn. I came here to be the best streamer I could be for the UK. And listen, UK, we might not have brought it home for World Cup, but we're bringing this home. I love you guys.
W Isabella.
All right. This is the Social Butterfly Award, okay? Presented to the individual who brings people together, creates lasting connections, and makes everyone feel welcome.
Max?
Their positive
Wardrobe?
energy, friendly personality, and ability to
There's a lot of
build
people,
community
bro.
have made a meaningful impact on those
I
around
bet you I
them.
get this one when I go, bro.
The Social
I'm so good at
Butterfly
interacting with
Award
people.
goes to Lanai.
Yeah! You're not. What's going on with Stream University? This is the award ceremony. This is the last night of Stream University. She did not need to do that.
OMG.
My ears, bro. My ears.
Hold on, y'all. Oh my God, this is thank you so much.
Why is it
I don't know
ending
what to say.
early
I'm nervous.
though? What do you mean by
I just want
early?
to say that it'll always be my goal to be a dark-skinned girl who puts it on for the dark-skinned girls. I don't like drama. I don't like when you have to feel like you have to over-sexualize
ending
yourself
early
or do
for some
this or do
reason?
that. I
What do you-
think that
how is it
everybody
early?
should come with positivity, talk to the smaller people,
it's over
and
tomorrow
please stop
morning.
having egos. We are all the same. Thank you so much.
They said it ends 2 days earlier.
All right.
It's not
This next
true.
award
I don't know.
is the Best Dressed Award. Okay? Presented to the student who consistently brought style, confidence, and and creativity
standing up.
to campus, whether in class, or around their dorms, or at campus events. The Best Dressed Award goes to Flippin' Josh.
W. Josh, man. That's a pretty cool profile picture.
Damn, I low-key was not expecting a word. This is crazy. Thank y'all. Fuck. Hey, I love y'all. Thank you. Holy shit.
All right.
Never mind, it's not early, just
This
TikTok
is
propaganda.
the Best Group Award. Presented to the group that, what the fuck that word say? Exemplified the true spirit of Stream University through teamwork, collaboration,
Bro.
and school pride. The Best Group Award goes to Core. Everybody from Core, look it up.
Groups are, okay.
Oh, whoa.
Exemplified.
did
That's a
it.
good word. That's a great word, even.
We did it, y'all. I'm gonna be honest, I think there can only be one person that should take this speech.
I just want to give a huge shout out to Kai and the team and everybody at SU. To be honest, we genuinely did not think that everybody here would be standing here.
Why didn't a dad get up there, bro?
It's a blessing that we were able to, come into everybody's lives and make everybody feel comfortable
Come
and
into
special and
everybody's
be able
lives.
to collab with everybody as much as we could. And we just want to say thank you for bringing your flourishing personalities. Thank you.
Fluorescent personality.
This next award is the Class Clown Award. Presented to the student who kept the entire campus laughing with their quick wit, unforgettable moments, and larger-than-life personality, whether in class, around the dorms, or during campus events. The Class Clown Award goes to I Like Haskell. Where's Haskell?
Dreads.
Come on, Haskell.
W. Haskell, man. W. Class Clown.
Keep it down, keep it down. I would like to say, I don't want to get emotional here, but, back at home, they were saying a lot of hurtful things. They were calling me ugly. They were calling me fat. They were calling me gay. And
I don't know.
I got this word just to prove everyone wrong. Thank you, guys.
That gay thing is controversial, no cap. People gonna be like, oh, what's wrong with being gay? Like,
This
ain't
next
nothing wrong
award
with being gay. Ain't nothing wrong with being gay.
is the Rising Stars
Ooh,
Award,
Suburb.
presented to the students who've exceeded expectations and emerged as one of the streaming university's brightest new talents. Through dedication, creativity,
Definitely Suburb.
remarkable growth, they made a lasting impression
Yeah, it's Suburb.
on both
I can only
the
think of Suburb.
recognizes, well, fuck. on both their peers and professors. The Rising Stars Award goes to Madi and Reem.
Oh, really? Yeah. Actually, no, I forgot about Madi. Yeah, Madi should have definitely got up there, yeah.
You this fucking mic, nigga. What the fuck? Yo, what the bro, I'ma just say this now, gang. You alright? Me and Marty live each other up every fucking day, man. Like, on bro, without this shit, I ain't gonna lie. If it wasn't for me, Marty would not be it, because this nigga wanted to quit streaming, gang. I told this nigga don't ever fucking quit, gang. You heard? We getting this shit together, bro. We do everything together. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Word, if y'all hate on us, y'all can suck a dick.
Look. I'm gonna be honest, real. I love all y'all. Thank you, Kai. I'm gonna be honest. I was in the streets. Kai kept begging me to come to SU. I'm telling him, like, bro, I don't know if it's for me. He keeps telling me, bro, Marty, we need you at SU. We need you. I'm like, bro, chill. Get off my dick, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna lie, I really appreciate him for convincing me to come. I really met a lot of new people. A lot of y'all really funny. And my big aunt, Tatum, just rambling her mouth. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna lie, that's good though. Lay,
Rambling her mouth.
But yeah, I'ma just say I appreciate everybody. I love y'all, you know what I'm saying? I love the interactions. Hopefully we could connect with each other. But if shit don't go y'all way and shit, you know what I'm saying? Indeed is also available. We need policemen, we need doctors, we need engineers, all that. Reem, I really love your soul, bro. You really like, you brought me here, bro.
The next award is the Community Builder Award, presented to the student who went above and beyond to bring the streaming university community together through encouragement, inclusivity, and genuine support for others. They helped foster friendships, strengthen campus spirit, and create an environment where everyone felt they belonged. This award recognizes the creator whose impact was measured not just by what they accomplished, but by the community they helped build. The community builder goes to Stable Ronaldo.
Hey, good stuff, Ron. That's a good dude right there. That's a good dude. Ron's a good dude. I'm happy Ron is still streaming after the downfall that he had, man. He's a good dude.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think I was gonna win an award, so I want to say thank you to anyone who getting a phone call. I want to say thank you to anyone who supports me. A big support to Kai. Who said it? Hey, I just want to say thank you also to Kai. This event is obviously one of the craziest things that has happened in my career, and I've been streaming for 8 years, and I couldn't have done it without your event, so I do appreciate it a lot. And Cuddy, if you're out there, man, I know you don't fuck with me, man, but I just want a hug after graduation, bro. And I love y'all. I love y'all, man. Thank you.
The next award is the Most Consistent Streamer Award, presented to the student who demonstrated exceptional dedication and consistency throughout streaming university, from showing up every day with professionalism to producing engaging content and maintaining a strong work ethic. They set the standard for reliability and commitment. This award recognizes the creator who proved that consistency is one of the greatest keys to long-term success. And this award goes to Juicy Jacob.
Juicy Jacob. Oh, yeah, he was consistently not himself. He consistently had a costume on. Hopefully he'll actually
He
like
was a new
say his
character
actual
every
self.
day.
Like he'll be his actual self. Why is he walking like that? He's still in character.
What? Okay. Hello. Shout out to XSCAPEVERSE, Escape Verse, Cat in the Hat. All right. Hey, this award, we're both taking this home. We both flew here together. We both auditioned together. So we're a duo. But wow, I sincerely appreciate all of you guys. Oh my goodness. Wow. Oh my God. Wow. Oh, thank you. Thank you. You have my utmost gratitude. Dude, Jesus Christ loves you guys so much. Oh my God.
Amen, dude.
And dude, you're all made in God's great image. Oh wait, you don't know what that means. God put you all on earth for like a great purpose, dude. He's got a great plan for your life. So keep working hard, keep putting yourself in positions to be blessed by God, and you've done that already, and you are all so blessed, and I'm so blessed to be there.
Amen,
I just want to give myself a little hug. Oh.
This next award.
Everybody scaling with gun and spirit feels ridiculous.
The biggest
Do you think there would be
snitch
someone who is
award.
so mad for not getting into SU?
Presented to the student is my favorite award.
For everyone?
Presented to the student.
I
whose
think in the
talent,
future, yeah.
Personality.
Like in the future, for sure, yeah. Somebody's going to do that.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing
Presented
is,
to the student
Kai said that
who
whoever...
somehow always knew who somehow always knew what was happening on campus and wasn't afraid to share it. Whether reporting the latest dorm drama, exposing crazy shenanigans, or keeping everyone in the loop. They became Streamer University's unofficial source.
But that person will
for
never
all
actually be
things
a
on
Streamer
campus.
University student.
This award
because Kai
recognizes
keeps
the creator
reiterating it.
who
So.
always had the inside
But I think in the
scoop.
future.
This goes to Big Ants.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember. The biggest snitch.
I just want to let all y'all motherfuckers know something. Don't do nothing around me because I'm nosy, okay? I'm from New York City. I'm from Harlem. I'm very nosy. I like to look outside my window. I like to see what's going on, who's fucking who, who's doing what. That's just me, okay? I love all my ladies here. Shout out to my ladies in the motherfucking building. Niggas. I like my niggas too, but y'all gotta do a little bit better. I'm watching y'all, all of y'all. Ooh, she'll be all right. I'm really grateful. Yes, I'm a snitch, but I'm the snitch. And Kai should come back next year. You know, I think I should run like a little program here. You know, a tea program.
A tea program? Oh, that would be pretty good, actually. The tea program, to be able to snitch. Big A. If you take out the NT, that's literally me, chat.
This next
that's
award
literally me. Big A.
Is the
that's me next year.
Hidden Gem Award. Presented to the student.
I think that
whose
could be
talent,
Tatum. It could also be
personality,
Suki Mello.
and impact quietly exceeded everyone's expectations. While they may not have sought the spotlight, their authenticity, creativity, and contributions left a lasting impression on the streaming university community. This award recognizes a creator whose value became impossible to overlook. The award goes to Blazian.
Oh, yeah! He was, like, very active in every chat. I'm not gonna lie, he's definitely going to streamer games and streamer awards. He was really good. He was, like, he was actually a good student, bro. Where's this mic at? I gotta hear these people talking.
Oh, shit. Okay, look, I manifested this the past year for the speech. Every day, this is some Disney shit, okay? I'm gonna say some Disney ass shit. Fuck you, nigga. But this is so crazy. Kai, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you guys so much. Meeting every one of you, this was really hard for me to do. I'm a gamer streamer, so I was like, this is my first IRL anything. And I wanted to...
Wait, let's see if I can get him to play some Deadlock.
I wanted to ask everybody here, all the teachers, all the students, their opinions on content and how they feel. Oh my fucking God, I'm really standing right here. But however they feel. And what I learned from this experience is that, yes, love runs the world, but the whole thing we all fear is obviously fear. I said that shit wrong. But embrace fear. If you didn't embrace fear, it limits your potential. And that's what I kept pushing. Even though I was scared, I kept pushing. And the reason why this all works, because I'm standing right in front of you, Brian Blasian, and I just graduated from Stream University 2026.
W. Blasian, man. I'm going to follow him right now because he's a gamer. Hopefully he plays competitive.
This next award
we can get him into some deadlock.
goes to
maybe. I don't know.
The in-class duo, presented to the pair who became inseparable throughout Streaming University, whether in class, around campus, or during every challenge. Their chemistry, teamwork, and unforgettable moments made them one of the most iconic duos of the semester. The award recognizes two creators whose friendship and collaboration became a defining part of Streaming University's experience. This award goes to Alyssa and Fine Jeremiah.
Really? That's nice. They're not even sitting close to each other. Class duo! They got to do some duo streams. And they'll get best duo of the year if they do duo streams after this. Facts. I'm calling it right now. Right now, I'm calling it.
Thank you. Hello. Do you want to go? Okay. Hi, guys. Thank you so much. This is crazy. I honestly didn't expect to get this award. This is so awesome. And I had so much fun this Streamer University, making new friends, meeting new people, and really pushing myself. Shut up. Hey, Meta, kill this guy. And then here, you got it.
I'm gonna lie, I got the shower and I heard someone singing some whack-ass Rod Wave, and it was her, and her energy's contagious.
Call
She's a very
Rod
good
Wave
friend,
whack?
and,
Holy.
Shout out to me, all y'all. I just wanna say thank y'all.
Whack Rod Wave. Holy. They said L because they call him
This
Rod
next
Wave
award
whack.
is the Heart
Rod
of the
Wave
Community
isn't whack,
Award,
bro.
presented to the person who embodied the spirit of Streaming University through compassion, positivity, and unwavering support for others.
I don't
Their
know who this could be, bro.
encouragement,
I don't know who anybody
and
is, bro.
genuine
There's too many
care
streams.
helped make campus feel like home for everyone around them. This award recognizes the
I'm just reading
creator
chat.
whose presence strengthened the community and left a lasting impact
Keep
on the
spamming
class of
the other.
2026. I just love puzzles.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? I never really saw her
Is she still
in anybody's stream.
Yes! Y'all are whack. We should have gave her a standing ovation.
Where that mic at, bro? How you hearing that?
Thank you guys so much. I have to thank my daughter. My daughter is my caregiver, Miss Tiffany Chanel. And you never see me outside without my daughter. She walked me up the stairs at the Stream Awards. And any puzzle competition, I only go outside once or twice a year. And she's always there with me. Kai, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I hit 100,000 followers and 6,000 subs. And the significance of that with getting this award is that I only did that because all of you came by and shared your communities with me. Every time someone came and sat in a chair next to me, the followers went up and the subs went up. And I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. And this,
Yo, don't piss
I
me
noticed
off.
something about the posts and stuff everybody was making that I've posted about this a lot of times because I had an issue. I had to have my teeth pulled. And so I was a stand-up comedian, and I just really, I like to laugh a lot. And that I'm always cupping my lips over my teeth or putting my hand over my mouth. But with the subs that I got and coming here with Kai and MD Motivator giving me the $30,000 that I have enough money to pay to have my teeth replaced, and I am so grateful for that. Thank you all for that. Thank you.
Nah, it's W's, man. I thought somebody just yelled gay.
This next award is the Steady Growth Award.
Suburb,
presented
baby.
to the student who demonstrated consistent growth throughout their journey at Streaming University. With each class challenge and opportunity, they continue to improve their skills, build confidence, and elevate their craft. This award recognizes the creator whose dedication to continuous improvement
I bet you Kai
made
has
their
a
progress
suit next year.
impossible to ignore.
He's gonna have a suit next year.
The Steady Growth Award goes to Wardrobe Winter.
Wardrobe! W Wardrobe, man.
Go Wardrobe!
Thank you so much. Oh my God, sorry y'all. I'm also suffering with the SU cough disease, voice disease right now. I want to say thank you, everybody in here, everybody who I talked to, everybody online. Thank you, Sky, Max. Thank y'all. I appreciate every last one of you guys in the building. And I mean, I wouldn't be here without, like, I always believe in, like,
People
I
just
feel like
their
social media.
voices
and
are
if
gone
any
from
of y'all,
yelling so much.
anybody, viewers that's watching that want to be here next year, I feel like posting and it's like a lottery. Like, you know, you got to keep going till you know, get that one post. That one post could really change your life. And like, just like that one ticket, that one post, that one video can always change your life. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Yep.
Let's go Wardrobe!
You're welcome. I got you, Wardrobe. You're welcome.
This next award is the Worst Behavior Award.
Suburb.
Presented to the student who kept campus on its toes with unforgettable antics, rule-bending moments, and a talent for finding themselves at the center of the chaos. Whether they were causing harmless trouble or creating the most talked about moments of the semester, they made Streaming University a lot more entertaining. This award recognizes the creator who truly kept everyone guessing. The Worst Behavior Award goes to Bilzo.
Hey! Congrats to Bilzo. If he was
Hey,
there,
cousin,
he
that was so my
definitely
nigga.
did.
Hey, oh, my fault. Yo, how y'all doing today? Hold
Where your
on.
shoes
Wait, why I
at?
got the worst behavior though? No, I'm really that terrible, guys?
Yes.
Well, you know, I just came up here. I want to give y'all a little message. You know, here's a message to the newborns waiting to breathe. If you believe that you can achieve, just look at me. Hey, Casanat, I love you, bro.
Just look at me.
This next award is
the audio
the
is really
Campus
good. I like the audio that they have going on.
Icon Award.
Suburb.
Presented to the person whose personality, presence, and influence became, what the fuck does this say? Synonymous with Streaming University through unforgettable moments, school spirit, and lasting impact on the campus community. They helped define the class of 2026 experience. This award recognizes the creator whose legacy will be remembered long after the semester comes to an
Brown was
end.
reading
The
books.
Campus Icon Award goes to Your Rage.
Oh.
Damn. First of all, thank you, Kai, for putting together the greatest streaming event of all time. I don't care what nobody say. That's a fact. Coming into here,
I ain't gonna lie. Even though I am who I am, I was nervous coming into this thing because deep down, I'm a dead side streamer at heart. You feel me? But coming outside my comfort zone, meeting all y'all great creators, little and big, I want to do shit with y'all for years to come. And thank you. Thank you. Any of y'all streamers can hit me up. We could do any type of content this year, big or small again. And I appreciate y'all for real.
Only this year. Only this one.
Get ass.
He said this year only. He didn't say any other year.
Damn.
Huh? The next award is the Best Roommates Award. Presented to
Black
the
Boy
roommates
Max and
who
Wardrobe.
turned their dorm into the ultimate home
never
away
mind.
from home.
That's not
Through
true.
friendship, teamwork, and countless unforgettable moments, they created one of the
bring stuff to
strongest
do
bonds on campus. The award recognizes the duo whose chemistry, support for one another, and shared experience made them the standout roommates of Streamer University. The Best Roommates Award goes to Wardrobe Winter and Black Boy
Oh,
Max.
really? I got it right. That's the first one I got right. W, because Wardrobe stood up for Black Boy Max. They didn't really like make their dorm room like special, but like they stood up for each other. So this is like actually tough. This is really good.
Thank you. Hey, wanna hold it? When I first came here, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I had a feeling I was gonna get paired with Wardrobe. Silky was telling me, yo, you with Wardrobe, you with Wardrobe. I'm like, right, this little ass kid, he crazy, like. But I'm not gonna lie, after the first day, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Let me talk to you. Like, you a real friend, bro. You feel me? Like, you a real person. Wardrobe is only 17. He been making content since he was 15 years old. When he was 15, what?
Younger than that.
Move, nigga. Anyways, you feel me? He a grinder. He's super emotionally intelligent. He young, but he has a very promising future. And I'm happy to call him not just my roommate, but my friend.
I want to say thank you, Max. You know, coming in here, I was like, oh, girl, I don't know. But then I was like, you know what? I'ma just do it. So, you know, I just walked up in there, and I really do want to say, like, it's been a long 5 days, but like, you can make like lasting friendships in just 5 days with like really strong connections. So no shade, if y'all got friends and y'all been friends for 5 days and y'all not really like really friends, girl, y'all might gotta work that out. No shade, y'all might gotta do a little activity or something.
5 days, bro.
Girl, I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. I know.
This next award is the School Spirit Award, presented to the students who embodied the pride, enthusiasm, and energy of Streamer University every single day, from cheering on their classmates to fully embracing campus traditions, creating their own merch, participating in challenges and events. They inspire those around them with their infectious excitement. The award recognizes the creator who truly lived and breathed Streamer University experience. The School Spirit Award goes to Maya Nicole and The Real Maya Live.
Nice. Both their names, Maya?
Those are my athletes. Let's go, ladies! Those are my athletes there.
So there's a mic close to the stage, that's why.
I
Like
know
on the
that's
stage.
right.
Like that, I think that mic right there on the podium is what's
Everybody
catching me.
watching? Okay. Well, first, I want to say thank you, Kai. You feel me? God is going to continue to bless you because you done bless so many people in this world. You feel me? Streamer you, everybody here, y'all, like 1 million+ people apply, and y'all, he chose us to be here. So I just want to say, even after this, y'all, keep going. You feel me? Don't let it stop here. I'm so grateful that, me and her can be here together.
My dog.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, we applied last year, and we did not get in last year together, but we made it our business to keep going. And we was like, next year we gonna get in. And twin, we in.
We in.
Next year, I'm gonna get in. I've applied 2 years in a row. I'll get in the third time.
Oh my
That's
God,
me.
I'm
That's
nervous.
literally me. That's
Okay.
literally me.
First thing I want to say is, Kai, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. My name is ThuhBigA Nicole. That's what I go by on all platforms. So last year, I did audition last year. I kind of gave this speech Lizzo's class.
W manifestation.
I did my
Prophet.
audition, and I received a lot of negativity, like, hey, like, you don't deserve it, all that. And I'm going to bring back this moment. It was a time where I was at the mall, and, like, a group of guys came up, they were like bullying me, like, you didn't make it, in my face, all this and that, but I kept going, and look, I'm here right now. You feel me? I'm here right now. And I just want to say, Damaya, I'm very proud of you. Me and this girl
Kai's
work
trying to make
our
sure he gets
ass
the
off
word
all
right
the
for the next
time.
one.
Like, we post so
You did.
much, and
Thanks.
yes,
Yo,
thank you, Kai.
next deadlock patch, I'm posting like crazy.
Cheerleaders of SU.
This next award is the Prankster Award, presented to the student who mastered the art of
They look so
mischief
tired in the crowd.
and unforgettable surprises.
Prankster?
Wait, well, how I say that? Mischief and unforgettable surprises. With creativity, humor, and perfect timing, they kept the campus laughing and made every day a little bit more unpredictable. This award recognizes the creator whose pranks became some of the most memorable moments of the Streaming University experience. The Prankster Award goes to Canal Joseph.
Canal. W Canal, man.
Yo, I just want to say I appreciate Kai for bringing me apart. You know, I went to all 3 days, and this also just shows that damn, why am I stuttering? Fuck. But I just want to say that consistency is hard work, and you know, if you keep
Consistency
working
is
at
hard
something,
work. I don't think that's true.
you know, it happens in real life. So I appreciate it.
Amen.
The next award
Consistency
is
gets
the Best
easier.
Professor Award,
Consistency leads to
presented to the
habits,
professor
which makes
who
it easier,
inspired, challenged,
Ludwig!
and empowered
Professor
the
L.
students both inside
Professor
and
L.
outside the classroom.
Professor L.
Through exceptional teaching, genuine mentorship,
Professor
and a
L.
passion for helping creators grow,
Professor
they
L.
made a lasting impact on the Streaming University
Professor
experience.
L.
This award recognizes the educator whose guidance and dedication left an unforgettable mark on the class of 2026.
Come on, Professor L.
The Best Professor Award goes to Ludwig.
Let's go! I called it! That's my goat right there! I wrote, the majority of the stuff I have written down is from Ludwig. W. Ludwig, man. W. Professor L. I throw my shirt though.
First off, guys, can we give a big round of applause for Kai Cenat? I was a little nervous to do this, Kai. I don't know if you remember, we had a call. I told you I'm too old for this. Kai said, what are you talking about? You're never too old for anything. You're 31. And you guys weren't there, so I said, you know what, you're right, and I did it. And I'm very happy I did. I did not think I would get as emotional as I've been meeting each and every one of you. It's been some of the best parts of my experience talking to you guys who stayed after class, who were engaged, asking questions. It meant a lot to me. So guys, thank you so much, class of 26, you're amazing. I do got a couple things, Kai, if you don't mind. You know, Dell sponsored this event. You guys all got laptops, right? Everyone got a laptop? Yeah. Unfortunately, some hijinks have happened. Blasian, your laptop got stolen, didn't it? Yeah, lucky for you. Alienware, they're a part of Dell. They said they were gonna give you a dream setup. I'm talking desktop, monitor, peripherals,
The whole nine Blasian, you deserve it. I'm sorry that happened to you. But you need to be streaming with the best equipment. You're a gamer and you need it.
W. Ludwig,
I've also been
man.
teasing you guys with who I'm gonna invite to Streamer Games, an event I'm doing next month. I want a team to represent Streamer U. And I want streamers of all sizes, people who tried, people who really want to push themselves into space. It's another step you can take. I got your list. I got 4 streamers. It was really hard to do. So I'm gonna go through one by one. First off, I think you guys have all experienced help from this person. He's one of the nicest people on this campus.
Blasian?
Mr. Keem, you're coming to Streamer Games. Next up, she was a bright spot in every class. It was a pleasure having her. She listened. I think she's going to be a phenomenal streamer. Fumi Bean, you are coming to Streamer Games.
W. Fumi Bean.
I cried hugging this streamer after my class. We had an emotional talk.
Oh, is this the dude that
Kiera, please, you are coming to Streamer Games.
Kiera, please.
And finally, this is the only student who went to 3 of my 4 classes. Jason Lewin, you are coming to Streamer Games. Thank you guys so much. Professor L out.
Wait, hold on, Ludwig, I want to say something. Out of a lot of things that I pay attention to the most, I pay attention to the classes on this campus, and genuinely
Best
from
class
a
ever.
person that has a perspective at being at home and watching from home, you have put a lot of people onto game without them even having to be here. And I do understand sometimes the Wi-Fi might not be the best in the classes, but when you could just focus real quick and just listen in a lot of these people's classes, you're going to leave with something that you have learned
Facts.
brand new. So thank you, Ludwig, for doing all
Classes
that.
were well thought out. Yes, really good classes, man.
All right. The next award is the Best Club Director Award.
Nick?
Presented to the club director
Probably
who went
Nick.
above and beyond
Probably gonna be
to
Nick.
create an engaging, inspiring,
It's gonna be Nick.
and unforgettable experience for their
This is Nick right
members.
here.
Through outstanding leadership, creativity, and dedication, they built a club that encouraged growth, collaboration, and lasting friendships. This award recognizes the leader whose passion helped make Streamer University an even more memorable experience for the class of 2026. The Best Club Director Award goes to Markel Washington.
Oh, really? Okay, no, yeah. That makes sense too. Because Nick, they didn't like actually have like a thing at the end.
Thank
of
you guys so
but
much.
they had a good thing for
I am
the
so
basketball
grateful
game.
to be here. It
Holy,
has
I'm
been an
not
honor
speaking
to be
with fully.
beside so many of you amazing people. And I want to thank my cheer team because after speaking to a lot, cheerleaders, stand up. Because after speaking to a lot of the other club directors, it's amazing to see how all my athletes showed up every day for practice and worked so hard. Because guys, if y'all only knew the effort that I put into it with printing out my cheers, buying the pom-poms, and making the music. I made a whole song for my cheer team because we were gonna get copyrighted. And I'm just so grateful for all of y'all who came and worked your asses off. I know they were expecting us to do a stomp and shake or just do some sideline cheers. And I have to tip my hats off to all you amazing ladies and gentlemen who helped us out, because the sky was the limit, and guys, I just gotta let y'all know we did reach it and we did touch it. Thank you guys so much for all your effort, and thank you for everybody else who supported the cheer team, and hopefully it's many more years to come. Thank you so much, and thank you, Mr. Castanat, for opening the department up for creator directors and letting us and allowing us to use the space and the facility to expand and Streamer U, and I hope it continues to grow. Thank you guys so much.
The next award is Best In-Room Content. Presented to the students who
Mr.
turned
Kim?
their dorm room
Reem Kim?
into one of the most entertaining spaces on campus. Through creativity, consistency, and engaging content, they proved the great ideas don't require a big stage. This award recognizes the creator who made the most of their space and delivered some of Streamer University's most memorable in-room moments. The best in-room content goes to Chris Gone Crazy and Real Nia Love.
Nice.
Both y'all.
Are they? Oh, for the Bible study. That was amazing. Wait, why are you stepping over the chair like that? Why did you do that? There was no point in doing that. Wonder how many more words there are.
Wow, man. My whole reasoning. First off, my name is Chris Gone Crazy. This is my girlfriend, the real Nia Love. And my whole entire reasoning for even applying and trying to be here was literally to spread the love of Jesus Christ, man. Like, literally. I just genuinely, I don't want to save anyone. I don't want to force anything on anyone. I genuinely just wanted to plant a seed and use my platform and this opportunity to do so because he called me to do that. I didn't want to be the most entertaining. I wasn't trying to have the most numbers, the views, the money. It never mattered. I genuinely wanted this to be a really, really big moment for me to talk to all the content creators that have something going on within themselves, and so I can create a safe space for them to be vulnerable and express themselves, because we, as content creators, we hold it all in, and we need people that understand to be able to be there to help us. Production, can y'all move to the podium, please, really quickly? Yeah. So, you know, it's just, I just wanted to say, Nia,
Oh, you're gonna ask her to marry her? What? Oh my God! Heaven can wait.
Nia Jackson, you changed my life. You changed my life.
I hate when I hit my head on this, bro.
What the hell?
Will you marry me?
Yes! What the
That's the chance I'll take. Baby, I'll stay. Heaven can wait. No. It ain't just a thing from yourself.
Oh my God! This is so good! This is so good, man!
That's the chance I'll take. Baby, I'll stay. Heaven can wait.
Kai, bro, can you come in real quick? She loves y'all, by the way. Bro, she loves y'all, bro. This was her personal request for her proposal, man. For sure. I just want to thank Kai, bro, because
Would not want to go after that? For sure.
he literally helped me
Anything
out with this
that
whole
comes next
thing,
is
planning
so,
this whole
like,
thing.
not as important.
Already, you know, I've been through so much, man. Like, God took away so much stuff from me to literally be at this spot right here, man. Like, I didn't even believe in him for so many years, bro. And I still was gaining following and gaining a big fan base, bro. And I was doing all the wrong things of the world, bro. And he did all of that and allowed me to still gain such a big following and such a big influence for this very moment right here, so that I can influence all of the people that watched me while I was in the world, so they can see a real life testimony that you can change, and it's never too late to change for Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And I just want to thank Kai, bro, because he allowed me
to get this opportunity.
Amen, dude.
To do so, and he helped me bring these guys out, man, and this is crazy. And he helped me with the ring, man. He helped me with everything, bro. Like I really appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, and I've been you about all this. Yeah, congratulations. Clap it up for them, y'all.
Who are those dudes? They do like acapella things on TikTok, I think. And they like have a really good voice. I don't really know them, but I think that's who they are. Not 100% sure.
All right.
She ate that.
The next award is. I don't mean to do anything. Clap it up for them one more time, y'all.
Her reaction. She jumped right on him. Bro, that was so freaking cute. And now she brought the whole ensemble out. Chris, boy,
You good. All right. The next award.
Oh my! I gotta listen to that song now. Oh my!
The
That's a good song.
MVP award. Presented to the student who best exemplified excellence throughout their journey at Streamer University through outstanding creativity, leadership, consistency, and a commitment to creating an entertaining storyline.
Who is it then?
They set the
Who is it
standard
then?
both inside and outside the classroom.
Who is it then?
This award recognizes the
Gabby,
creators
you was
whose
tripping?
impact, performance, and dedication made the most valuable player of the class of 2026. The MVP award goes to Suburb Baby.
I told you. He was averaging 100,000 freaking viewers. He definitely did something that made this thing stand out, bro. I'm so glad you're loved because I go and ad from him. So, I'm so glad you're live. Does that go? Oh, you got an ad from. Oh, okay. Your typing is incorrect.
That shit look good, don't it? You know, damn, lost my voice. You know, I've been working and shit. Before I came into LSU, you know, I saw a couple TikToks saying, you know, Suburb makes skits, all his shit scripted. He can never be a live streamer. Fuck you, nigga. That's all I really gotta say. But no, on some real shit, hey, Kai, I appreciate you, my nigga, for believing in me. I wanna say, man, anything y'all wanna do in life, keep going. Never give up. And, man, fuck everybody that don't believe in you, man.
Thanks. Thanks, man. No, this is good support right here, bro. Somebody's probably
right.
salty, but like, it's good support.
This is the final award of the night. This is the Valedictorian Award presented by Dell. Presented by Dell, this honor recognizes a student who exemplified the very best of Streamer University through exceptional academic engagement, creativity, leadership, professionalism, and an unwavering commitment to grow.
Unwavering.
They've consistently set the standard for excellence. This award celebrates the creator whose dedication and achievements earned them the distinction of valedictorian for the class of 2026. In addition to this recognition, the receiving person will also receive an official Dell brand deal in recognition of their outstanding performance.
Tyler wasn't here,
potential.
bro.
The valedictorian
He's a 2025 student.
of Streamer University 2026 is Mr. Keem.
Hey, Mr. Keem. Mr. Keem.
Damn, this is crazy.
Isn't he the card guy? Yes,
the
he
first
is.
thing I want to say is every single one of us, we made it here because we worked hard. And I hope that no matter what happened today and no matter what happened this week, that we could all still be grateful because we have so much to be grateful for in life. And I just really want to say thank you to God. I want to say thank you to my family, my supporters, my community, because they remind me just to be true to myself every single day. And I want to especially say thank you to Streamer U, the staff, especially Kai, my classmates. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for trusting me, like with your communities. Like, I don't take it for granted when I show up in front of your camera and y'all talk to me. Okay, it means a lot to me. And I just wanted to say that I really wanted to do my best to set an example of what I believe Streaming University and what Kai represents in the streaming industry. And the first two things I want to say is, the first thing is,
lots of praise and
we got to be generous with our platforms because I really believe that, like, when you have a platform,
Today is Sunday too, yeah.
and when you're successful, like, you have to be able to share that with other people. That's my belief. And so I did my absolute best throughout the week to sacrifice, to spend some time with as many people as I can, and to help y'all with tech, whatever skills I could offer, whatever gifts I have, I wanted to try to give to you guys.
He's definitely coming back next year.
So I want to just encourage everyone to continue to be generous with what you have.
It depends.
And the last thing I'll say is, let's keep being courageous, you know, and not let anybody else define who we are, not let anybody put us in a box, because my goal this year was to be great behind the camera, because a lot of people know me for that, and to be great in front of it. And I really think I did that during Streamer U. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's get into this next side. I have a little recap video for you guys.
This is good.
To reflect on. First of all, before we get into this, anybody who did not receive an award, don't let that define you at all. A lot of this was shined on those who just best fit that category, and if you did not get an award, it's okay, all right? We're gonna keep pushing and keep grinding. I put together a recap video for you guys to
There's
reflect
no way
on.
he put this together by himself.
Let's please get into it.
Wait,
what happened? No, pause it. What? Oh, my bad, y'all. My bad. Yeah, can we turn these lights off, please? Production, can we turn these lights off, please?
They all either going live or straight to bed after this. They're not all gonna go live. They're probably gonna be intentional and like actually make more friends.
Good luck with that,
here.
nigga.
But I definitely do think a lot of them are gonna go live.
All right, here y'all go.
Sunset shit don't change. Ever since we was on, I dreamed it all. Ever since I was
Congratulations, my boy.
You know I'm jumping out of Bentley, yeah. And I know it's dramatic, yeah.
It just happened.
I'm surrounded 20 bad ones, yeah. But they didn't know me last year, yeah. Everyone want me act like they employed. If I get hurt, you better let me know that when I saw my door. Everything custom like I'm at the bar.
Wait, is that the Chainsaw Man dance?
Put your lighters to the sky. How could I make sense
Holy.
I just put it to the side. Since I'm happy, let me see it in my eyes. My mama call, see you on TV. Sunset shit don't change. Ever since we was on, I dreamed it all. Ever since I was young, they said I won't be nothing. Now they always say congratulations. Forgot how to vacation. They ain't never had the dedication. People hating, slipping, changing, look, we made it. Now we made it.
Clap it up for yourselves real quick. Clap it up for yourselves real
Still
quick.
going. Yes, it is, Car Jam.
Let's go into this next one. Where's Big at? Wait, hold on. Oh, yes, perfect. So, this is year 2 of Streaming University.
I know
And I wanted to share with you guys what's next for it. Streaming University is a idea that I had in my head that is now the entire world, and a reality that I realized was just big. It's just way bigger than me, and that's why I push to do it every single time. And I did say that I am going to be doing this event for every single year until I don't know what happens. You feel what I'm saying?
The next date or something.
So I wanted to announce something that I'm super excited for with you guys, and that is Streamer University 2027 will be taking place
Texas
in Europe.
Oh, what?
Will be taking place in Europe. Okay, do we have the slide?
Europe.
Okay. So, to everybody out there, Streaming University next year is going overseas and will be held in Europe. Now, listen. That doesn't mean if you're from the US, you're not able to go. Any US creator that wants to be a part of this every time, it's a great time to see 2 different continents literally collide on one campus. And with that being said, I have another announcement.
2 streamer universities.
Next year for 2027, the alumni of class of 2025 and the alumni of class of 2026 will be able to, the selected alumni, will be able to participate full-time next year in Europe.
That's interesting.
Okay?
So
what
it's
does
gonna
that
get
mean?
bigger and bigger every year.
That means shit. Y'all gotta give belt to ass still. We will be watching. We will really, really be watching. And I would love to see amazing USA creators collaborate with amazing European creators. And I'm very excited because this is now the first step into making this for not just the US, but for the entire world and seeing cultures clash. So I want to leave off on a good note. I want to say thank each and every one of y'all from the bottom of my heart for coming to this event for me. A lot of y'all did not have to show up. You feel what I'm saying? But you guys still went out there and you guys still did y'all things. And I've been watching y'all the entire week, and I'm proud of every single one of y'all, genuinely. Y'all are very hungry individuals, and nobody knows what's gonna happen when we leave here, but all y'all can do is be consistent and keep growing, and most importantly, take the connections out of here and put that in the real world. Connect. Y'all have a hope. Tonight, y'all should be going together and connecting, exchanging infos, phone numbers, social medias, and everything. Build something that's worth lasting forever. Thank you guys so much, and that is Streaming University 2026. But also know, after this, you guys are now allowed to go live. Don't be wild. Please don't be wild, bro. It's the last night. Connect genuinely. You guys are able to go live, and have a nice day.
W, man. That's pretty cool. Oh, this is good. This is good. See if I make it in. This will be my first time traveling to another universe, bro. But we'll see what happens, bro. I feel like they may get more European streamers than American streamers. But we shall see what happens, bro. We shall see. That was freaking W's, bro. Freaking Kai is making like big moves, dude. Like Kai and Speed, they have transcended. They are no longer just streamers. And we've already known. This has been like known for like the past 2 years. They are no longer streamers, bro. They are literally celebrities. because they have the ability, and they are like trailblazers. You said it right. Like they have the ability to do so much now. Like this is like a prime example of making the right people like famous and successful because they're doing things that like help other people. Speed like interacts with people around the world, and Kai, he's helping other streamers gain like knowledge and get like I got helped and I didn't even go, but hopefully I get to make it in next time so I can ask personal questions, like questions that like cater to me more. Maybe I could get more help with stuff. But yeah, dude, him going to Europe, I was not expecting that. I thought this would stay in the United States for a little bit longer and then it would travel around the world. But now he's already pushing it. So, and now he's saying selected alumni from both 2026 and 2025, which means, like, instead of it being like 150 people, it's going to be like almost 200 people. Like 200 people streaming at the same time. But we don't know how good the quality is going to be. And I don't know. I'm rambling. Dude, that was a W stream, dude. W stream. Sorry I didn't play Deadlock today. So I'm sorry. I like content. I'm a content creator at the end of the day, and I want to do content. I will be doing way more Deadlock for sure. I'm just saying, like, in the future, I want to go to Streamer University and then also to be able to do other things. To maybe potentially. Oh wait, he's back in his room. Oh, he's back in his room.
Chat, can y'all hear me? Excuse me. My bad. All right, listen, y'all. Okay, can we clear the hallways, please? Can we clear the hallways?
Said this is
Listen,
a goodbye.
y'all. Okay, they started packing up already. Okay, let me tell y'all something, bro. Genuinely, I love y'all. How y'all feel about Europe, y'all? Chat, how do y'all feel about Europe? How do y'all feel about Europe?
That's exciting, bro. I've never been across the world.
It's about to get crazy, bro. Genuinely, I love you guys so much.
But it's going to be at a different time.
Bro.
Which is interesting.
We're going to Europe next year.
These are going to be like way earlier streams.
I think it's going to be crazy, bro. I think it's going to be insane. Sleep schedule might be a little crazy for a lot of y'all, but it's worth it, y'all. It is really worth it, y'all. It is really worth it. Y'all going to have to stay up a little bit longer. We're going to start resparking stream a little bit earlier. Whatever it is, it gives the opportunity for European creators to now be more, focused on Epic. This is about gifted. If you are from America, okay, if you guys are from America, you still have the opportunity. The goal for next year is to see cultures just clash. You feel what I'm saying?
Hello, bro. I can already experience. I can already see it. I can already see it.
Crazy.
Hello, bro.
And
It's like
years
beans
after
on
that, who
toast.
knows? It may be whatever it's at. Chat, we're locked in. Will you fly us out? Yes, Streaming University is all inclusive. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Okay.
Or it might be the same amount of class.
I really appreciate
it. Might be
you
the
guys.
same 150, no cap.
Genuinely. Okay, just know that. I do. Okay? I do appreciate you guys. 2 years of nonstop support. I do appreciate it. And y'all heard alumni of 2025 and selected alumni, selected of 2025, selected alumni of 2026 will be able to participate full time, not just a day.
Full time is crazy,
And
bro.
however we figure that out, we'll figure it out. But
it
will be crazy, bro. I'm about to take my time and really try to bond with these students on my campus. And yeah, so if you want to go to Streamer University next year, make sure you have your passport, buddy. Unless you live in Europe. If you're from America but want to go, make sure you get that motherfucking passport.
Chad, how much does it cost to get a
Make
passport,
sure you do.
bro?
All right. And yeah, bro. Appreciate y'all. Thank you guys so much. Oh, behind the scenes.
I'm too poor right
video
now, bro.
Of behind the scenes of Streaming University will drop from the moment that we started discussing it to the moment now. Okay? It probably will drop in 2 days. Probably will drop on the 21st.